just like seeing her for the first time.
The hall grew quieter after the heavy discussions, the leaders having fulfilled their roles as commanders and guardians of Daxia. Cups of wine clinked, laughter occasionally broke the weight of duty, but the atmosphere remained solemn beneath. The surface. Han Jan spoke firmly, his voice carrying conviction. Masters and spirits can fight together, or separately. But this bond is only truly effective when the two have already shared deep intimacy. The statement silenced the air for a moment. Lin Jinan's sharp eyes narrowed, locking on Sei. So tell me, is she really just rank E? Han Jan did not hesitate. At the beginning, yes, she was rank E, but she carries something far greater. She has the ability to revive her divinity. With that gift, together with me, she ascended to rank SSS. The revelation struck the room like thunder. Gasps echoed. The leaders exchanged startled glances, unable to believe what they had just heard. To think a spirit once classified as the weakest tier had soared to the very peak of power. This was unheard of. Han Jan continued, his expression unwavering. People say I choose my spirits at random, that I gamble recklessly. But they are wrong. I would never contract with an ordinary spirit. My talent would not allow such carelessness. If I encounter a spirit with divinity, if it appears low level, I will never pass it by. That is my path. Murmurs spread among the leaders, and their gazes deepened. His words carried not arrogance, but the conviction of someone who saw further than others. Then the master, Li Shuang, broke the silence. His eyes glinted with rare seriousness. This matter must remain hidden. No one beyond this chamber can know. Not a whisper, not a trace. He turned toward Jingxin, his voice cold and commanding. When you return, classify Han Jan under CIA Youth the highest level of secrecy. No one is to access his records, not without my permission. Jingxin bowed. Deeply, yes, master. The tension lifted slightly as another leader raised his cup, bringing different news. We have secured 10 consecutive victories at the front. Nearly 30% of the lost territory has been reclaimed. The room brightened. Cheers rose, and for the first time that night, a flicker of hope shone on their faces. Li Shuang smiled faintly, his expression softening. Good at last. Some light amid the shadows. He lifted his own cup high. Let us toast to your victories, and to our new disciples. The night wore on. Wine flowed, stories were shared, and laughter returned in small bursts. But eventually, the gathering ended late at night. Han Jan noticed something unusual. The master's steps wavered slightly as they walked together under the moonlit streets of Shinan City. His cheeks were faintly flushed, his voice carrying the edge of too much drink. Master, are you all right? Han Jan asked cautiously. Li Shuang chuckled softly, brushing the concern aside. Do not worry, tonight was for celebration, but now, come. You must see your new home. When they arrived, Han Jan froze in surprise. Before them stood an elegant residence, lit gently beneath the night sky. I never thought, master, that you would have a house here in Shinan City, Han Jan said, astonished. The old man's gaze softened, distant memories flickering in his eyes. This was my wife's hometown. Han Jan blinked, his lips parting slightly. Your wife? Li Shuang nodded slowly. Long ago, she has been gone many years. She fell in battle. His tone was quiet, heavy with the weight of unspoken grief. The world remembers that. I killed the 3 Zerg emperors, but few remember her. Few know that she fought beside me that day. A pang of guilt struck Han Jan. I am sorry, master. I should not have asked. But the old man shook his head, his expression firm, yet kind. Do not apologize. Instead, remember this. Be kind to your companions. They are not mere tools, not simply spirits to be wielded. They are also human beings. Do not let the world strip away their dignity. Han Jan bowed deeply, his eyes serious. Then, master, please tell me her name. As long as there is someone who remembers her, she will not vanish from history. The master's eyes widened for a moment, touched by the young man's words. Slowly he spoke. Her name was Lin Mai. In that fateful battle, I slew one. Emperor Shi. She fought the other two to the death. If she still lived, it would not be I who was honored as savior of Daxia. It would be her. Silence fell. The stars above shimmered, as though the heavens themselves paid tribute to the fallen woman. Later, Li Shuang guided them to their rooms. But when he stepped outside again, he did not immediately rest. Instead, he stood beneath the vast starlight, alone, his silhouette etched against the silver glow. Memories washed over him of love, of battle, of sacrifice. But before the grief could consume him, two figures appeared quietly at his side. Han Jan and Sei. Master, Han Jan said gently, we did not want you to be alone beneath the stars. The old man turned to them. For a moment, his stern face softened, and warmth flickered in his eyes. You too, remind me of us, when we were young. He paused, then his voice deepened with resolve. Listen well. If you wish to protect the ones you love, then you must grow strong. Strong enough that nothing can take them from you. He straightened, his aura flaring. I will teach you something tonight. A martial art few have ever learned. The ground seemed to hum as he summoned his energy, forming intricate seals with his hands. This is Baki Quan. It is built on 8 locks each, corresponding to one of the 8 strategic points within the human body. Unlock them all, and you will break past your natural limits. Han Zhen's eyes lit with determination. He followed his master's every word, feeling the flow of energy course through him. The training began. Li Shuang had expected the process to take months, half a year, perhaps more. But to his astonishment, within a single night, Han Zhen had already broken through a lock. The master froze, his eyes widening in disbelief. Impossible. It should take months. Yet you, Han Zhen exhaled, calm and steady. I can feel the energy of this place. It guides me, channels through me. I am only following its flow. Li Shuang's lips curled into the faintest of smiles. Remarkable. Truly remarkable. Then, without warning, the master shifted his stance. His aura flared like a storm, and he lunged forward, an attack meant to test the boy's newfound strength. The real trial had just begun. Under the calm night, Li Shuang began the next stage of training with his disciple. He told Han Jun that now he would be teaching him the true fighting technique that relied on unlocking the 8 locks of the body. The moment the training started, Han Jin was caught completely off guard. His master's strike landed swiftly and decisively, sending him falling hard to the ground. Pain rushed through his body as he tried to steady himself. Looking down at him, Li Shuang spoke with firm authority, telling him that being too much of a genius was not always a good thing. He reminded Han Jun that sometimes brilliance must be tempered with restraint, and that arrogance or recklessness would only invite downfall. For Li Shuang, there was a certain satisfaction in teaching such a lesson to a gifted disciple, showing him that talent alone was not enough. But for Han Jun, lying bruised on the ground, it would have been far easier if his master was just a little bit kinder. Still he endured, knowing that each lesson carried its own purpose. The next day at Ivy Academy, Shay approached him with concern etched across her face. She asked if the protagonist was still in pain from yesterday's harsh training. Han Jun, however, simply shook his head and reassured her, saying that he already felt much better. As they walked together through the academy, they soon came across a group of these students, still bitter about their defeat and jealous of Han Jun's outstanding performance during the test, began provoking them with mocking words and ridicule. Han Jun's expression remained calm. He did not rise to their bait. Instead, he quietly told Shay to ignore them, reminding her that it was not worth their time. The two of them continued walking, heading toward the director's office where they had been summoned. Inside the office, the director wore a heavy expression as he delivered troubling news. According to the orders from the higher-ups, both Han Jun and Shay were to be reassigned to the Deep Blue City Guardians, effective immediately. They would begin their duties from the very bottom, performing frontline work and facing the dangers of real combat. The director admitted that this arrangement felt excessive and unfair, especially considering their rare talents. He revealed that he had already tried to argue against it, but his words had not been enough to overturn the decision. Hanjun, however, accepted it without hesitation. He even said that this was a good decision, believing that it aligned perfectly with the lessons his master had given him. To him, this was the path forward and opportunity, rather than a punishment. But as they left the office, the same provocative students returned, once again mocking the two of them with jeers and insults. This time, however, Hanjun's patience ran thin. He stopped in his tracks, turned to face them, and confronted the troublemakers head-on. Their leader stepped forward arrogantly, challenging Hanjun to a fight in front of everyone. Hanjun's gaze sharpened. He accepted without fear, declaring that he would make him pay for all the humiliation. The clash was swift but brutal. In a single decisive strike, Hanjun's power overwhelmed his opponent, and with a devastating blow, the troublemaker's arm snapped in half. A cry of pain echoed, but Hanjun did not stop there. Completely unhinged, fueled by controlled fury, he delivered a crushing punch straight to the troublemaker's face. The impact forced him to swallow his insults, silencing the mockery once and for all. His opponent collapsed on the ground, broken and defeated, while the crowd looked on in shock. Without sparing a backward glance, Hanjun walked away with Shay beside him, leaving the shattered student behind. The director immediately called for the infirmary staff to attend to the fallen boy. But Hanjun had already moved on, his focus set on his next duty. Outside, Hanjun and his companion headed straight to the Guardian's headquarters to register. At first, the receptionist treated them with open disdain, his words sharp and dismissive. But the moment he looked closer at the documents and realized who they were, his expression shifted instantly. His tone softened, his posture changed, and he quickly explained that he had actually been expecting them. Pulling up the files, he explained the structure of the organization. Every Guardian had a primary squad responsible for supervising others, while the rest were divided into numbered teams based on their districts. After confirming the details, he informed Hanjun and Shay that they would be assigned to the same squad, working together from this point onward. The receptionist then pointed them toward the room they should report to. When they arrived, the sight that greeted them was unexpected, a complete mess. Papers were scattered, furniture misplaced, and the atmosphere suggested disorder. Hanjun and Shay exchanged glances, wondering what had happened here. Inside, a woman turned her head toward them and asked sharply who they were and why they had entered. Standing firmly, Hanjun replied that he had been appointed as the new captain of Team 7 before the woman could respond. A man who had been lying lazily on a couch lifted his head. With a mocking tone, he sneered at Hanjun, saying that he hadn't even fully grown out his hair yet, and already wanted to be captain. His words carried disdain, dismissing Hanjun entirely. Shay frowned at his disrespectful attitude, asking him directly why he was acting in such a way. Even Hanjun himself wondered if all the squad members were like this. The man then stood up, smirking, and turned his attention to Shay. He teased her in a patronizing manner, saying that her voice was far too serene for someone who was trying to sound angry. That was the final straw. Hanjun's eyes darkened, his protective instinct flaring. Without hesitation, he stepped forward and delivered a powerful punch. The blow landed squarely, sending the man crashing violently to the ground, blood spilling from his nose as silence fell across the room.